good additions this year. Vinny Curry, Ryan Jensen, Bo Allen. They drafted Villa, who obviously just got injured a couple days ago. But
that defense is scary.
Jason Pierre-Paul,
the defense
too.
is very, yes, as well. Yeah, I forgot about JPP. But
I didn't.
They made some additions, and when I look at the Buccaneers, they need to take that next jump. So I feel like if it doesn't work out in either this next year or, the year after that, I feel like you got to look for someone new. I think you got to get a fresh start. I think it's just a contract where, it's just for another year. So it's like, let's see if you're going to do it, then let's do it now and whatever. But it doesn't really hit me hard like, oh, this was a bad move.
This is something that I think that I want to say the Giants made famous, but something that we know in New York the Giants do very often, and that's take a guy who's on his last year and extend him a year because you don't want a lame duck head coach or GM.
Well, a lot of teams do that.
Yeah, you just don't want them coaching for their job on their last year. If you're coaching for your job, you make mistakes. If you're picking players for your job, you make mistakes. It is just one of those things in football that happens. It's kind of a non-story. The only thing that makes it a story to me is that I think over the last couple of years he's done a pretty good job of acquiring talent. That talent hasn't translated yet.
Dirk Petter's a horrible coach. He is garbage.
They need more from Jameis Winston.
There are people who are calling for Jameis Winston to be cut. I mean, get real. The guy can win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's incredibly talented, but I mean, how many chances are you going to give this guy?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is his first mistake in the NFL, though.
In the NFL?
Yeah.
You know what happened in college football. I don't need to. We don't need to talk about
the crab legs.
We had this conversation.
Not the crab legs. The issue was sexual harassment when he was.
The one with the Uber?
No, that was the NFL.
No, that's
different. That's different.
We had this conversation on Tuesday. You're a different person now than you were in college. I don't mind you making mistakes too much. Obviously, what Winston did in college was wrong, but this is first mix-up in the NFL. Give him a chance to work it out.
But either way, Mike Evans also, he's been doing well. Mike Evans is doing everything he is. He's a superstar. They just drafted Ronald Jones out of USC, who I really liked coming out of USC. He's going to be the starter, and I think he's definitely going to thrive in it. The offensive line, again, has made improvements. They've been making improvements everywhere, and they've been getting better year by year. But the division they're in is hard. And then also, again, I just think they don't have the right head coach to really take them to that level. And also, again, Jameis Winston needs to he needs to step up.
He fired Lovie Smith too early. That was what happened.
Yeah.
Because Smith had a 4-win improvement the year that he was fired. So I don't understand why Lovie was fired. I like Licht. He's done a decent job in Tampa. Only one winning season. They missed the playoffs. He's just got to find the right guy at head coach. Dominic, I agree with you 100%.
It's not something that's going to make you like rip your hair out. Like, oh, why would they do this? It's kind of just a solid move.
Maybe if you're a Buccaneer fan.
That's true. Yeah.
Nick is a Chiefs fan. I'm sure there's at least one Buccaneer fan listening.
Or I'm saying, I guess I agree, because if John and sick for a year, oof.
Oh, God. 2
Buccaneer
years.
fans, are you listening? Hello,
yes.
Are you out there?
Is there anyone alive out there?
Yes, exactly. Like Bruce Springsteen. All right.
Oh, I was thinking Titanic, but okay.
I like the...
I'll never let go, Jack.
Urban Meyer was placed on paid administrative leave after it was revealed that several people close to him knew about allegations of domestic violence against his wide receivers coach Zach Smith by his ex-wife Courtney. Offensive coordinator Ryan Day is OSU's interim head coach. Nick, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, first off, let me say I think I understand why you threw this my way, just because...
Your brother went to Penn State.
Yes. So being somewhat in some way related to the situation in that respect, I've grown up hating Ohio State. I've grown up hating the whole culture of it. Look.
I will say I am jealous of you for having seen a game in the Horseshoe.
It was amazing. The play. You've never seen something register on the freaking Richter scale. It's crazy. Anyway.
Seahawks games.
I believe that. Here's
not anymore.
No, definitely not.
Here's the thing. I'm extraordinarily disappointed by this news because it's another bad blanket statement against the Big Ten, against Big Ten football, or big football, whatever they want to call themselves now. I think it's important to remember that this is not a first-time thing. There was Urban Meyer's already come out and admitted that he was aware and involved in a 2009 thing with Zach Smith involving his wife when they were in Florida State together.
Florida, you mean? Not
excuse
Florida
me, not
State.
Florida State. Excuse me, Florida. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
In Florida together.
Quite all right.
So that happened. You have precedent. And although she dropped the charges against her husband then, there was now precedent for this. Now, being as involved with that family, taking that family with you to coach Ohio State football like Urban Meyer did, does anybody in this room think there's a chance that Urban Meyer didn't know about this when it happened? This is in 2015. Her wife is as close to Smith's wife as friends can be. So the idea that Urban Meyer received a text before his press conference, before he made that statement, that he never heard of it, that was the first he had heard about it, that his wife wouldn't have known about it, that it wouldn't have come. I mean, these guys in college football know everything. And let me give you some of my PSU vantage points here. When my brother got in trouble, and I'm not going to say about what, I think I brought this point up on this statement. I know you've looked it up, Jake, so don't give me that smirk. When my brother got in trouble in State College for something small, the very next morning, Joe Paterno was at his door telling him to pack his bags or to face some serious penalties. These guys know everything that happens to everyone around them. They are the most powerful people. And Urban Meyer, the highest paid employee in the state of Ohio since LeBron James left. I mean...
Wait. He makes more than Kevin Love?
I believe so.
He makes more than $20 million a year?
I believe so. There was something that came out the other day says he's the highest paid per person in the state of Ohio.
Well, if that's true, then that's a huge overpay by OSU.
I agree with that. Anyway,
right,
here's the problem.
Hold on. You had your chance. Let me give mine just because we're a little tight on time.
Sorry. Go ahead. He knew about it.
He did know about it. I do believe that he knew about it, but does that make him complicit? That's the thing. Eric, is it okay if I use you as an example here?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm a little afraid, but go ahead.
I know Emily decently. I've met her 3 times.
Okay.
If I find out that you're doing something to her, does that mean I should fire you from the show? If I don't, does that mean that Sean should fire me? If Sean does nothing, does that mean that the station should fire him? Where does it start? Where does it stop? There's something called personal responsibility. I don't believe that Urban Meyer should be held accountable for this. This is one guy and his wife. Yes, he should have been fired. I agree with you, but I don't think Urban Meyer should lose his job over this.
Is this the kind of thing that you want a guy teaching young men values? If he saw something like this, if he knew someone was beating on his wife or abusing her psychologically, you want this guy teaching young men? That's the problem.
I understand your point completely. Urban Meyer and any college football coach needs to play 2 roles: a teacher and a coach.
Yes.
And sometimes the coach hat supersedes the teacher hat. And yes, that is a shame, but it happens. It happens. Urban Meyer should not lose his job over this.
Do you think this is going to affect Ohio State for this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Because look what happened when Luke Fickell took over for Jim Tressel.
No, yeah, I don't think they could be the same team. I mean, they still have the players, obviously, but it's...
I don't know what Ryan Day is going to do, and I remember the Tressel situation.
You also got to keep in mind that Urban Meyer is the biggest name in college football, not named Nick Saban, too. So it is one of the biggest names out there in college football, and it's, it just falls into the point of what I said Tuesday. What are you supposed to do? Obviously, people, make mistakes, but...
Some mistakes are more forgivable than others. And quite honestly, if I found out that you were beating Emily, I'd talk to you about it.
Which I don't, by the way.
I know you don't. I know you don't. I know you don't.
Let's get that out of here. That doesn't beat up.
I know.
I asked you permission.
Yeah, I know that.
I would encourage you to seek help if you're having issues. I don't know if I'd fire you over it. It's not my job to be your conscience.
And especially if I get help over it, too.
And it's not Urban Meyer's job to be Zach Smith's conscience. That's my issue here. Urban Meyer should not lose his job over this. The situation was handled horribly. No one is justifying his actions here, but Meyer shouldn't lose his job over it. Make it a learning experience. There is one situation that... No, I can't. The program director will kill me if I bring it up. I can't do it. We got about 2.5 minutes left. It's time for the bottom of the 9th, if I can hit the button. There we go. I was going to hit the button that plays the next cart here, but I remembered.
You didn't want to play the applause button first?
No, definitely not. I wanted to play this. The
There you go.
anthem for the Mets this year. Dominic, we'll start with you.
Well, speaking of that, Match just went to the DL, which we knew it was going to happen, but, it's official now. He's on the 10-day DL. And also, I'm going to the Jets training camp tomorrow in Rutgers, so I'm looking forward to that.
All right, sounds good. Eric?
This series, Yankees-Red Sox, is probably bigger than ever, and instead of J. Happ going to the DL, he should have just went into the Boston dugout to just, get his hand, feet, and mouth on everything in there.
Last time I checked, the Geneva Convention forbade biological warfare. But,
you don't know what you can't see.
Yeah, exactly. That's neither here nor there. Nick?
We didn't get to Fantasy Frenzy today, but since fantasy football is coming up, I've said it once on the show, I'll say it again. Do not believe the hype on Kareem Hunt in the first round. Buyer beware. Wait. He's not going to be the same guy.
Also, be worried about your quarterback now, just saying. He's falling off the charts for me.
Oh, my God. Mahomes has been garbage. How do you think the Chiefs are going to do this year?
I think we'll win the division by a fraction.
Really?
I really do. I don't think it's going to be. First of all, I don't believe that they're going to turn Derek Carr around in a year. I don't see that happening.
I do. And Gruden, we trust.
What about if Case Keenum plays like he did in Minnesota, though? I personally don't think he's going to, but if that's the case, I think...
I'm not buying the Broncos. What I am buying is the San Diego Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers.
Everyone's hurt for the Chargers.
Everybody's up on them, and there's a reason they are. They've been building this team up to be where it is right now. I think the Chargers are a problem in the AFC West, so
if everyone stays healthy, yes. But
there's no precedent for that. There's no doubt about that. You're right.
And everyone's hurt for them. That's the issue.
We'll see. I think they're the biggest thorn in our side this coming season.
I'll say the Raiders. Eleanor?
The Ottawa Senators re-signed defenseman Cody Ceci to a 1-year, $4.3 million contract. I had nothing else to say but a huge overpayment.
So you're just really hating on Ottawa today.
Tell us how you really feel.
All right, so Yahoo Sports has launched fantasy college football. I'm going to play it this year. I'm not sure how I feel about it on an ethical level. You're gambling on essentially boys. They're not men yet. They're boys still when you're in college. So... I don't know about this. I'm going to play it.
Frat boys.
I'm just concerned with the ethical dilemmas with this.
I feel like how can you...
Also, I can't make money off of these guys. That's the thing.
Also, how do you draft a team that I feel like you barely know about?
They're limiting it to Power 5 conferences.
Okay.
And Notre Dame. All right. Looks like we're about out of time here on Beyond the Game. For Dominic Arbolino, Eric Fischetti, Nick Ohrnberger, and the true hockey maven, tell what that other guy can't say that enough, Eleanor Chompy. I am Jacob Volk saying that Jack Nicklaus probably had a lousy curveball.